Hi everybody. Today I want to demonstrate the player profile system we're developing for our P3 pinball platform. We're demonstrating it on our first game, which is Lexy Lightspeed. So you'll see what's installed on the machine is, well, it's running the Lexy Lightspeed software. The upper playfield module is the physical shot layout for Lexy Lightspeed. You can only see half of it because we're isolating on the lower portion of the game, so you can see some more details on the screen as we demonstrate the profile system. Up here that you can't see are our ramps and loops and pop bumpers and physical ball lock and those kind of things. So why would you want a player profile system in a pinball machine? Well, you may want to track player achievements as they progress through a game, maybe track how many times they've completed a mode or started a specific shot, or completed a specific shot or a set of targets or any number of things. You may want to track those cumulatively as they play the game over and over and over again. Their total number of modes completed, for instance. But you may also want to give players of different skill level the opportunity to play games against each other. So on a traditional game, if you had a beginner player and an expert player both play a game against each other, they'd be playing the same game rules. And it'd be much harder, obviously, for the beginner player to get the same score as the expert player. But with the profile system, we hope to be able to set it up so you can handicap the players so that a beginner player, for instance, would have easier rules to play and a more expert player would have more difficult rules to play, so that you can both try to progress through the game on a semi-level playing field, so to speak. Okay, so let's talk more about the player profile system. Down here in our apron LCD area, we call it that because it's a part of our playfield LCD, but it's in the area that's normally covered by a traditional apron. You'll see a message, active profile is none. What that means is if we walked up and hit the start button right now, it would simply start a game, like any other machine would start a game, with the default game settings. So we could hit the start button once, 2, 4 times, to start a 1 or 2 or 4 player game, and they would all play with the same settings. But we're here to talk about the profile system, so let's look more at that. So if I load up the profile menu, it shows I have 2 profiles, easy and hard. I have the option to add a profile, and there's an option for none. I don't know how well these are showing up on the camera, but I should note that the presentation, the menu system, the profile system in general, the text we display, it's all in development. So all of this may change. We may change the text pop-ups, we may change the colors, we may change the shape of all these menus. There are probably typos and mistakes in here now, but it's in a pretty good state to show off the functionality. So right now there are 2 stock profiles. We hope to ship the game with some set of stock profiles, whether they're easy and hard or maybe beginner, intermediate, and expert. Some set of profiles that have predefined settings. Let's look at those settings right now. So the easy profile, let's select him, let's edit him. Now, in general, an owner can decide to allow or disallow individual players, individual users from editing profiles. There's an option in the service menu to turn off or to turn on player or user editing of profiles. Right now it's enabled so that we can edit profiles as regular users. Let's go into the settings. Let's look at gameplay settings. General, you'll see that the ball save time is set to 20 seconds, which is nice and generous for this easy profile. You see in the apron LCD it says active profile easy, which is what we're editing. So that's set to 20. The ball lit mode lit on ball start is set to yes, meaning every time we start a ball with this profile, the mode hole will be active to start mode. Also, let's take a look at alien attack mode. The number of aliens down here is set to 2, which means that the beginner player who uses this easy profile will only have to battle 2 aliens. Now we'll look at the hard profile, which is what the expert player might choose. Now it says down here, active profile is hard. We'll look at the gameplay settings. Ball save time is set to 5, so a very short ball save. And mode lit on ball start is no, as opposed to the beginner players, yes. This means that every time the expert player starts a ball, he'll have to shoot an additional shot to light mode before he can start a mode. Okay, let's do one more thing, and that's add another profile. Let's say a third player. Let's say John walks up to the machine and he wants to be part of a 3-player game with an expert player and a beginner player. Maybe John is an intermediate player. We start a profile of John, and of course we don't have to start a profile for him. He could just enter the game as with the default profiles, but John wants to track his achievements, so let's use John. Let's also select John's profile and edit it. And we'll turn his ball save time to 10 seconds. And his number of aliens, which is now at the top here, we'll change it to 4. Okay, so now we're ready to start a 3-player game with a beginner, an expert, and John. We'll do that not by hitting the start button like normal. Well, we will hit the start button, but while we do it, we will hold down one other button. So we hold down the other button, hit start, and it pops up our select menu. We'll make player 1 easy. So the beginner player is player 1. He's choosing the easy profile. The game starts, and you'll notice here in our apron LCD area, it says player 1 is easy. It shows ball 1 of 3. It shows our main score here. And there's a message in the center of the screen that says player 1 easy launch ball. You know, we're still debating whether or not to put the profile name in that launch ball message. It makes sense when it's an individual player, like when it will say player 3 John launch ball makes sense. And the group name easy is a little more awkward, but we're still debating that. Now let's add a couple more players. So let's hold down the button, hit start. Let's make player 2 is going to be the expert player, who will use the hard profile. It says player 2 added. Now you'll notice in the LCD here it's got 2 scores that rotate between the numbers and their names. So player 1 is easy, player 2 is hard. And now we're going to add John to the mix. So John is up. Player 3 added. Now 1, 2, 3 with easy, hard, and John is this third player. And just for the purposes of demonstrating a new feature, let's say a 4th player really wants to join us. So let's add a 4th player to the game. In fact, let's do it with no profile because of some no-name guy who just walked up and wanted to join us. So it says player 4 added. Player 4 is now listed in our scoreboard as just player 4 because we didn't select the profile. Okay, so now we're going to start the ball, which is still player 1, the easy profile. We start the ball. You'll notice a ball save message pops up here, and it started counting down from 20 because our ball saver setting was set to 20 seconds. Now you'll notice the left ramp is set for starting the alien attack, and it shows 1 of 2 because the setting for the easy profile was only 2 aliens. We also show here on the right side the start mode is lit because we just started our ball and that setting was set to start the mode. I accidentally drained the ball, but it's fine, so we'll progress through to the second player. It now says player 2 hard launched the ball. Down here on our apron LCD, the active player is now 2 hard. We launched the ball. You'll notice the ball save was set to 4 seconds. So if we were to drain it real quickly, our magic tractor beam comes up and grabs the ball. What is it? Ball save is now off because it was a very short ball save. The aliens are set for 8 now because the hard profile had 8 aliens to kill. And the right hole is not set for mode start. Instead, the right ramp, which is next to it, is set for light mode. So if we shoot that right ramp shot, now a mode is lit. So the expert player had to shoot an additional shot before he could light the mode. Okay, so now let us drain the ball. It's now John's turn, and let's assume that player 4 who walked up and wanted to join the game decided to quit before he even played. I guess he finished his beer and he wanted to run away. So in a traditional game now you're stuck with a 4th player that you either have to play through his ball or just drain it, launch it and drain it or whatever. But on this system you can actually remove player 4 from the game. Because he hasn't played his ball yet, if we were to hold the start button now for 2 seconds, which I'll do right now, it says player 4 removed. And if you look in the apron LCD now, you just have players 1, 2, and 3. That fourth player, player 4, is now gone. We could have done that at any time up to the point where it becomes player 4's turn. So if, for instance, you hit the start button too many times and add extra players that you didn't intend to add, you can simply remove them from the game. If the game is set to coin play instead of free play, it would actually even return the credit to you. Okay, so John's up to play now. We had different settings for him. If we start the ball, you'll see the ball save time was set to 10. It's now counting down. The number of aliens is set to 4, so it says 1 of 4. And ball, or mode start, is set on that right hole. So that's it. That's the demonstration. We've showed 3 different players, each with different game settings. And hopefully this allows players of different skill levels to compete on an even playing field. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and next time we will show you some other cool features.